Alright, back to what we were doing. So, we're going to be recording a video about the lore, and I would like to welcome you guys to the last day of Pebblethon, day 14, the end of Pebblethon. And first things first, the Zero Logs. They came before everything in My Singing Monsters, but after the prototype monsters that appear on the islets. It's your turn.
Oh, sorry. So what did you just say? Sorry, I just got
The Zero
distracted.
Logs. You're gonna start with this. Tell us about the Zero
Oh
Logs.
yeah, Bizarro logs. So basically, it starts with Plixie sitting on Ethereal Island, and so Zaro's spirit thingy sees Plixie and is like, "Hey, Plixie, what's you doing?" And Plixie's like, I'm just hanging out. Our natural friends, these guys who rule over the natural elements, they made these little singing monster guys, and so like we want to make our own too. And Zara was like, okay. And did you like do concepts or anything, or like? And Plixie's like, no, we're out of ideas.
You
And
sound
so
like Carl
Zara's
Weezer.
like, huh?
You sound like Carl Weezer.
I know. I'm not good at a Plixie impression, so like, cut me some slack here. But basically, like, so like, anyways, Zara's like, how about this? I'll come up with some concepts for monsters for you guys, and I'll like put up this little presentation thing to like show you what you'd like and what you wouldn't like. How about this? And then so Plixie's like, yeah, I like that idea. So, all right, I'll go talk with the others, and
Alright, okay,
I'll see you
so.
later, I guess. And then they fly away.
Alright, so that's how the Zero Logs were first invented. Now way forward in time to after the My Singing Monsters original timeline. Zero, after making all these concepts and making the original 5 ethereal elements and Bimmy Biff and the gang and the islets, that being its hands, it decided to revive an old project of its own known as the Electric Ethereals. A while ago, Zero forgot that Galvana did not have a single element ethereal or monster in general, other than the Wubbox that it created itself, which was only just a combination of the natural elements, not a real single element for good old Galvana. So, with the help of Galvana, the Prison Builder, and Dreamcrafter, and of course Zero himself, they used their powers to create the electric ethereals. But one day, on a fateful day, after creating all these electric ethereals, they encountered one little creature, a little worm. This little worm
Yes, a
would one
worm.
would one day become Hexabus. Now, the lore behind Hexabus will be revealed later on, but you guys get to learn that in Zero Logs. There were the last few Zero Logs and came after the MSM lore. They were just like the last of the last Zero Logs. Anyway, so after Zero's successful creations of the electrical monsters, they had no homes, but that will came on later. So Zero, bored and wanting to expand the pocket dimension, was experimenting and created a potion by accident and cracked the potion.
Potion?
Yes.
What potion?
This potion exploded, and guess what happened? It expanded
What happened?
the entire pocket dimension into a bigger area, becoming so
Zaro
unstable.
just Zaro just makes a potion and it explodes, creating a whole entire new space. What?
There's more explanation to it. But
Okay.
after creating this potion and exploding, it caused the area around Zero's island to the entire pocket dimension to become so unstable that it's able to contain the workshop monsters outside of Ethereal Workshop.
Huh. Vention was really happy that day.
Yes, he was. But anyway, this is how we explain the the ethereal temples. The ethereal temples were created by the Celestials and their avatars. The avatars were created by Zero to help the Celestials finally create their home islands. Pretty cool. Anyway,
Yeah, yeah.
these home islands were based around them and famous buildings from the human world, like the pyramids of Egypt or the great city of Atlantis, which was not real, but monsters
Oh,
thought it was.
I mean, I wouldn't blame them. Atlantis seems like a pretty kick-ass place to be.
True, true. That's what Crystal Crypts became to be. But anyway, it lived in one of the oceans near the Mount Mond areas of the pocket dimension, which were a little reminiscent of the Thumpyverse. Anyway, they found the portals that would give area to the great forest that this magical sanctum resides in. Very cold forest, by the way. All right, so a little lore about the magical expansion islands. They do technically exist somewhere in the pocket dimension, surrounding the actual magical sanctum itself. They live in different areas of the world. Anyway, so the pocket dimension now expanded and having enough places to go to have the monsters reside. Now, the prison builder, now with all this power given to them by Zero, after creating these temples and the electric monsters and stuff, they wanted to do some experiments of their own. They were the centrifuge, so they've seen the paranormal monsters quite a lot. They were also the prism gate, so they know a lot about prisms. So, with their powers of the prism gate, they sucked up single element paranormals and plopped them down on these new temples called the paranormal temples. These temples were created by the prison builder to make new homes for the paranormal monsters to create more paranormal monsters with combinations of electric and natural and ethereal monsters without the plasma element.
Hmm. Or plasma. Like the
Because
it, whatever.
plasma has something else coming up. Anyway,
Mm.
so he gets something special. But anyway, so now that these paranormal islands have been created, those Threeasonals, even though they are already on their own islands and stuff, they wanted to expand more. So they went to the paranormal temples and the ethereal temples, now having new homes. Pretty cool, right? Well, there's more to this. So,
He's an author.
the electric monsters, back to those. They don't have any homes. So, just like Firehaven and Fire Oasis, how they have hidden fire monsters hiding somewhere. Well, only in around Firehaven. But
Oh, yeah, yeah.
so
So
there's two new temples created. One made of completely scrapped up um
wrapped
machinery.
Wobok metal,
Yeah, Wubbox metal, Wubite, I think is what it's called.
which is no, it's actually called steptanium.
Yeah, yeah. Island completely made out of steptanium, and one made out of completely bubblerite. The one out of bubblerite was the first electric ethereal island, and the other was the one with steptanium was the second.
Yep.
And
Funny
Galvanic,
enough, Galvana's spirit was put into the bubblerite one, since well, the island was shaped like their head.
but they still were able to move their spirit outside of it and place themselves over in another island, which I'll reveal later. Anyway, so their spirit was partly within inside one of the islands, But they also split their spirit into a third thing, their new avatar. Like how the rest of the rest of the ethereal celestials had their own avatars, so did Galvana. This one was made out a little bit of bubblerite and had some Zero arms. With the help of Zero, they were able to create this creature. It was reminiscent of the island itself. But Zero, before even making the Woolbox, made an abomination known as Galvana's Abomination. This one resides now on
Yeah,
the Steptanium Electric Island. I need to take a breather.
yeah. We really need to remember the name of the Steptanium one.
it's
What was it again?
it's electric electro
Sapphire.
balance.
Oh, right. Electrobalance. All right.
Yeah, and electro type is the bubblerite one, but I like calling it Steptanium one.
Jeez, my throat.
Damn, bro. Tragic. Um,
Don't. Just don't say that again.
okay, I'm sorry.
But
Uh,
all right. Next, let's just move on to the next part.
all right, so now Galvana had finally given homes to most of the electric ethereals. But it also was the areas where plasma got its specialty because it was never on the paranormal islands.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how that happened. Now, you might be wondering, where did all those extra electric ethereals go? Well, they become part of the Electric Expansion Project, where they would go to the paranormal
Yep.
islands, and the missing two paranormal quints ethereal quints would go to the electric islands, but Meebeth luckily got to have another home and be on electrobalance, or aka the Steptanium Island. And then
Yep.
Bubblerite Island had G Charge, the other Lyrics ethereal, the electric
Yep.
quint. Now, back to Hexabus. Hexabus still did not have a home and has been finished.
The heck.
Yes, the Hexabus, the Ethereal Hex, had been finished built but didn't have a home. And so, out of out of pity for poor Hexabus, even it being the most powerful creature imaginable, even said to be even more powerful than Zero themselves, um, it was
I
one.
mean,
It was known as one of the four demigods in part of the big multiverse that the four other multiverses were inside of.
yeah.
Maybe there's three big multiverses. We'll never know. You'll have to watch My Pebble Fire.
3 to 4.
Get out. Anyway,
Uh
um,
huh.
yeah. So those Hexabus wanted a home, so with the help of Galvana, Prism Builder, and Zero, and a little help from Dreamcrafter, they created Sapphire Aether. Used to be called Sapphire Oasis, by the way. Cool fun fact. Sapphire Aether, even though it was not really there, but it was more like an enhancement of a Titan, a Titan given armor. Um,
They enhanced the Titan. They upgraded them.
because the Titan was almost dead, so it became a cyborg. Basically.
Oh
Anyway,
yeah.
and this island has all of the electric ethereals and one of the the quadsinals, that being Disco Word, the um, what what is Disco Word?
Disco word. Disco word. Discord.
He is the he is the he is the New Year's seasonal. Anyway, Galvana
Yep.
finally
Even
found a
though.
home like the other ethereal celestials, but it still had split its soul into three different things: the Avatar, the Bubbler Island, aka Electro type, and last but not least, itself. Yeah. So now it had a home, Hexbus had a home, voila. But what about the impure paranormals? They wanted to reunite, to find a common ground. So, with the help of the Prism Builder, they found their way inside of the Prism Gate. Now, they broke into the Matrix, in the Prism Gate and created Paranormal Matrix, a giant robot creature made out of outer island crystals, but not looking like them because it was more of a mix of melted down outer island crystals to create
They
this
took
new.
the crystals and they took them into a furnace and then melted it into one giant island.
Yepperdoodles with the help of the Mech Quint, by the way. Um, yeah.
Yep.
So they created this island paranormal matrix, and all the paranormals resided all the impure paranormals and paranormal single elements resided there, and Prison Builder finally found a home. Now, but there was another guy who also lived on Paranormal Matrix, that being the seasonal Quint, the all year round seasonal.
The seasonal of just year all around.
Yes, I mean it makes sense because he's the Quint seasonal.
Has all the seasons.
Yeah, he's also known as Ice Cream.
A
Anyway,
never melting ice cream.
yep, funny. Anyway, now the Dreamscape, it's said to only exist in the monster world, or at least somewhere around the monster world, said to be most likely on the moon. But since the moon recently got stuck in between the monster donut hole that is the monster world, stuck by a guy named Dave. Yeah, that
Strider!
guy. Dave Strider threw a sword into a portal and it got stuck in the moon and pushed it down into
Damn
the
you,
hole.
Dave!
No one knows how he did that, and he isn't even from the Pebble Omniverse, so we'll never know. But anyway, back to what I was saying. So that Dreamscape split into two. The natural Dreamscape slash extra magicals Dreamscape and the ethereal Dreamscape, where all the ethereal mythicals created by Zero, since Zero was bored one day and created them to reside in the electric and ethereal temples. Now, the Catalyst wanted to help these guys out to create ethereal dream mythicals, and also Dreamcrafter finally found its second home. And last but not least, the month of the mythical seasonal, also known as the Creator Month seasonal, also found a second home. Pretty cool.
Yippee!
And there's one more island. Actually, 5 more. Let's go to the first 4. These were the outer islands. They are made of random scraps that Zero just doing pet projects. These islands contained electric and normal ethereal monsters as like equivalents to the outer islands from Dawn of Fire, but for electric and ethereal monsters. They were just a fun little thing to do, and one of them actually had wub cores. The name for wub orbs, the ones that exist in wub boxes, but they're
A
bigger
warbs.
and are called wub cores when they're in the gears of Disaster Island. Now, Disaster Island Natural version is not canon to pup lore, but the ethereal version, whenever that comes out, is canon. Now, Storm Island was a storm created by a storm maker, one of the sages that, along with the rest of the sages like Stair Shaper and Dreamcrafter, yada yada yada, and Prison Builder. But anyway, and then there was the Goo Island, which was one of Zero's mini labs, and Haunted Island, which was Hydestide's mansion that they lived in, the Shadow Quint.
Mhm.
It was actually a bigger version of Hoax Hotel. It was like the first concept of Hoax Hotel, but Hydestide transformed it into Haunted Isles.
Ooh, spooky.
And last but not least, the last island of all. This one has high connections to the My Pebble Fighters lore, and
Uh,
the guess what? The Pebble and the Troll Gang comics, which will explain more about this. But you can actually find out that so not that much will be revealed about the Pebble and the Troll Gang comics, but one thing I will tell is that victory pad that they left at the start of the story is actually Celestial Genesis, where the Celestials ascended to over there to have a new home and their peak physical states. Now highly attuned to their new aspects and their
Let me
zodiac.
explain this.
And one last thing, the sages also ascended to there.
Let me explain this a little bit. So basically, in in Pebble and the Troll Gang, they go into their new universes, and randomly, somehow, some way, the Celestials manage to make their way onto said victory platform.
So did
And
the sages.
through this, they were, and also the sages too. But like, anyways, so when they transformed, some sort of paradox space anomaly happens, giving them back their god tier outfits, and so they have their class specs back.
Wait a minute.
And
I keep telling you this. They just gained these when they went to the victory platform. They never had them before in the lore.
but you got to remember that I've always had the headcanon that
That
My Singing
headcanon is not
Monsters is
canon to
free
all.
scratch. All right, fine.
I keep
Jeez.
telling you that.
All right, fine. Get it.
Anyway.
Now,
Um,
let's. All right then.
and then there's the one
Ignore what I just said.
the one sage that I have not mentioned, Season Molder. That was the one who created the beacon on top of Seasonal Shanty, aka the beacon that was over on Wanderer Island. At least I think that's the beacon, same beacon, but I have no idea. It would make a lot of sense though. But yeah. Anyway, what else is there to say? Oh yeah, Doodad, the most important monster in the series. This little goober is the last Wublin created by the Woboks. This Wublin is the only Wublin that was able to reproduce naturally. Oh my god! It was Woboks' final project to finally make a Wublin that can reproduce. Ooh my goodness. Anyway,
A Woblin with an egg.
yes. I know, crazy, right?
Yeah.
Anyway. Well, it's not really. It skips the egg entirely. It just makes babies in its mouth pocket
It
thing.
just spits out a baby every once in a while.
No,
Just whoop, 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 and out pops one.
no one actually knows how those babies are created, but I mean, it's kind of funny. Warbox, after finally creating this, it woke up its true and final form, the Elder Warbox, as it finally achieved what it wanted to become. Anyway, so now that this is all settled and everything, what about, what's the guy's name? Oh yeah, this random pirate crew that's been sailing the seven, the six, no, the nine seas of the pocket dimension known as Poison Shanty, and they've been doing some bullshit. I shouldn't have said that, but whatever. They've been doing some rhyme and stuff, and they've been just like sailing these nine seas, trying to just like how do I say this? They're trying to find a treasure. The treasure being all of the Zerologs, and they want to auction them off to random buyers. They're really good pirates, by the way, so they know what they're doing. Anyway, I'll see you guys later.